just 3 years. Or maybe I should be the one to help you, Austin said, and before Hazel can react to anything, he was standing behind her, his large hands on her waist. She could practically feel his head sweeping through his body, and the way her heart speed its beats wasn't healthy. What are you doing? She asked, stuttering mess as she gulped when she felt Austin's smirk. Devil that he is, he leaned down so that his mouth was exactly in front of her ear. Hazel's breath hitched when she felt his hot breath against his ear, sending shiver down her spine at the closeness. I'm teaching you, baby girl, he replied, voice husky and low. Don't call me that, she warned, but Austin just chuckled. The audacity. Why not? It seems like you are enjoying it too, by the way. You are blushing, he teased. I am not blushing, it's just embarrassing, okay? Whatever, Austin replied with roll of his eyes, which were the only thing visible because of his bucket hat and black mask. Now, concentrate, he commanded. Hazel could hardly concentrate on anything he was saying. In fact, she had no idea about what he was saying. Her attention was more on how close he was and how his breath was spanning against her cheek. Understood? He asked, breaking her from her trance. She blinked multiple times, trying to figure out what exactly happened. Yeah, she said. She took another arrow and did what she was doing for last one and half hour. The arrow went flying, but it was not anywhere closer to the target. Austin sighed loudly and Hazel looked at him with a pout on that he just rolled his eyes. Let's go and do something else, he said, and Hazel again nodded as she began to walk faster because the way the audience were looking at her made her feel embarrassed. Austin just chuckled but decided to not tease her anymore. The girl looked miserable. Want some cotton candy? They make the best one in each color, Austin said, breaking silence that was stretched between them for past few minutes. Yes, I am craving some sweet right now, she confessed with a smile that turned her eyes into percent. It was adorable. And so they stood in front of the cotton candy stand eating a pink cotton candy. Austin tried to cover his face as much as possible while he ate the cotton candy as a child. You seem so familiar with this place, Hazel said as she pinched the cotton candy and it into her mouth, ravishing the feel of it melting immediately into her mouth. Austin did the same before replying. I came here each year. It reminds me of my childhood when there was no worry and just fun. Being adult is boring and it is not as enjoyable as I thought when I was a kid, Austin said with a dry chuckle. Hazel gave him a small smile at that. For me, childhood was miserable. I am just happy that I am adult now, she said and brightly smiled in Austin, who was just eyeing him. Why was your childhood miserable? Childhood are supposed to be the best time of your life, he commented as he popped some more candy in his mouth and immediately covered up his face with mask again. Hazel seemed to be out of place as her eyes got lost in the memories that she had spent in the orphanage. Not everyone has a perfect childhood, do they? She asked softly and threw the stick that was holding the cotton candy to the trash can. I didn't I didn't had any good memories, she can't confess. Someone from my family left me at the entrance of the orphanage with a promise that they will come back soon, but they never come back. I was just 5 years old when this happened, and during those days at orphanage I just used the cry because I thought that they would be searching for me to come back. As years passed, I understood that no one wants me. By the time all the kids at orphanage thought that I am a road girl who just liked to fight with others. No one really played with me, she said with a sad smile. After 18, I was so happy that I could leave orphanage behind. I'm sorry, Austin said, and Hazel was surprised at how sincere he looked. I shouldn't have asked. No, it's fine, really. I am good now, she said with a chuckle. If you don't mind, can I ask something? Austin asked. His cotton candy was now a gummies in his hands. Sure, ask me anything you want, she said with a soft smile playing on her lips. She looked beautiful like this under the bright moonlight that illuminated on her pale skin. If you don't have any good memories there, then why did you agree to marry me? He asked, but it wasn't an accusation. Hazel could see the curiosity in his bright black eyes. I am what I am because of that orphanage. Not all the kids have fun there, but nonetheless, we become what we are because of them, she explained. It may look like they are worse, but what would have happened if they haven't accepted me? What would have happened if they have left me somewhere just like how my mother did? I would have been dead by now, or even worse, having raped or something. They played an important role in my life, and they will play an important role in another girl's life too. I don't want to take away the chance of having a good life from those girls, she confessed, and Austin just gazed at her in awe. That's quite impressive, really. It's good that you want good for others, Austin said with a genuine smile and Hazel blushed. Making Hazel blush was getting too easy for Austin. The girl would literally blush to everything. Thank you, but enough about me. You said that you love your childhood. We have whole night to hear your stories, Hazel quickly said as she tried to hide his blush. Austin chuckled as her once again looked around, his gaze getting lost. I used to come here each year with my mom, dad, and Ed. It was like a tradition. We would roam around here a lot and often get lost. That's why I know where each stand us place and where our desired ride is. Explained a soft smile playing on his thin lips. After mom and dad dead, grandma and grandpa used to come with us here, he added. Hazel really wanted to ask about what happened to them, but the way Austin looked so hard, Hazel decided that it was better to not ask what she wanted to know. They have plenty of time after all. They are supposed to be married for 3 years. That sounds fun. It was he replied with a nostalgic smile playing on his lips. Now, you should know through the candy. It has stuck on the stick. She pointed out, and Austin finally glanced at the stick in his hand, groaning instantly when he saw how messy it has gotten. After the break with cotton candy, Hazel and Austin did various other activities, like origami or cup and saucer. Right? Hazel had shouted her soul out, and much to her displeasure, Austin was laughing at her misery. They also had various stand foods, and Hazel was surprised that Austin can eat street food too without throwing a tantrum out how much unhealthy it is. When they were finally done, the sun was already registered rising in the sky, and now the stand owners were packing their stuff, and Hazel's mood instantly decreased. Shall we go? Austin asked softly as he stretched his hand in front of her, who placed her smaller hands into his. I don't want to leave, she went, and Austin chuckled. He shook his head, a little amused. He leaned closer to Hazel, a soft smile still playing on his face. We can come here in next year, he suggested softly. Next year? Hazel asked her, heart beating faster than the words that Austin said. Well, Mrs. Roberts, you are stuck with me for another 3 years, he said sweetly. So this time, no running away. Hazel didn't reply to that statement, and she hooked her slender finger into the mask of her husband and pulled it out. Before Austin can reply, Hazel leaned up and kissed him on her lips. Thank you and welcome. Austin was stunned by the sudden kiss by Hazel, his eyes wide and his hands hovered over her waist. It was the first time that she is initiating a kiss that is not a happening under her drunk behavior. He could feel his heartbeat increasing. Just when he was about to return the kiss, Hazel pulled away. Her gaze was shy as she looked up at him. Her cheeks painted pink. She looked adorable. Austin was just looking at her with wide eyes, not knowing what to do. Thanks for today. I really enjoyed this night. No one has done anything for me, and you did it for me. It felt nice, she admitted softly, her gaze falling to the ground. She looked cute like this, all cute and shy, and Austin can't hold himself any longer. And so, he lunged forward and grabbed her face in his palm as he smashed his lips against her. The kiss was rough, desperate, and borderline, rushing, but For some reason, Hazel didn't mind it at all. She liked how Austin was handling her. She enjoyed the kiss and tried to return as best as she could. It wasn't a doubt that Austin was a professional kisser. The way he kisses made him Hazel's inside going in butterflies erupt in her stomach. He was rough but yet gently. His grip on her face was firm yet not enough to cause any pain. His other hand was holding her waist gently, pulling her as close as possible. It felt good. His grip on her face was firm yet not enough to cause any pain. His other hand was holding her waist and gently pulling her as close as possible. It felt good. Their tongues fight against each other for dominance, and Hazel was more than okay to let him have all the dominance he wants. She wanted to be dominated. She loved the feel of his lips on her. When they pulled away to catch some breath, a single string of saliva was attacking both of their lips, but they didn't care. They both were painting as they looked into each other's eyes. Austin smiled brightly and so did Hazel. He leaned down to pick her one time and Hazel smiled into it. "You're welcome," Austin said with a smile as he rested his forehead against Hazel to close her eyes in serenity. They went home pretty late. When they reached their house, the sun was already shining brightly. Hazel was still blushing whenever Austin gave her a sly smirk. They both went to their respective bed and flopped onto it as they haven't slept for weeks. As much as confusion is running in Hazel's mind, her body is screaming in fatigue of not getting enough sleep. And so she shut down her mind and slept like no tomorrow. When she again went down after sleeping through entire morning and almost through afternoon, her hair were still wet from the long bath she just had. She was wearing a long hoodie dress that reached up to her mid-thigh. She loved to dress up all comfy at home. With her mobile phone clenched in her left hand, she made downstairs. She could already hear the noise that was coming through the kitchen. Austin must be cooking, she thought. Austin, his name came in her mind as she could go was blush. She didn't know what overtook on her this morning when she kissed her willing. All she could remember was that kissing him felt right to her. Maybe because they both had enjoyed their time together, or maybe because they both have shared their snippets of past with the others. She didn't know whether she was liking the thought of kissing Austin or not because she didn't know whether she was liking the thought of kissing Austin or not because for God's sake she was committed to Jack. "Good morning," a warm voice said as soon as she entered the kitchen. As always, Austin looked handsome, dressed in black joggers and black t-shirt. He had an engraved apron tied across his waist. "It's afternoon," Hazel corrected as she lazily made her way to the kitchen counter and sat on the kitchen stool. She plopped her elbow on the counter and watched Austin move around. "Well, we both just woke up, so it's morning for us," he reasoned while Hazel just chuckled. The way he was moving around kitchen always fascinated Hazel. The guy knows what he's doing. He knew how things are supposed to be done. She didn't know whether she was like right now. He was cutting the vegetable while something was boiling on the stove. "What are you cooking?" she asked as she tried to pick in the pot. Austin cracked open the egg in the bowl and added the chopped vegetable into it. His veins poking out as she moved his muscles. He began to whisk the egg rolls, and seaweed soup, he explained as he poured the whisked egg into the pan. "You seem to be a professional here," she said with a giggle as she watched Austin flip over the omelette. "What can I say? I am a man of many talents," Austin chuckled as he opened the lid of the pot and dig in a spoon into the soup and tasted it. "Narcissistic," Hazel commented as she rolled her eyes at him. When returned chuckled as he opened one of the cabinets to grab two bowls and a plate. He placed the bowl on the counter in front of Hazel and poured a hefty amount of soap for her. She immediately brought the spoon and tasted the soap. Damn, you really make best meals, she complimented without looking at Austin, who sat in front of her with his bowl and placed egg roll in a plate. I am best in bed too, he casually said, and just like that, Hazel choked on the soap. She heaved as he asked Thorn Terry She heaved as her eyes torn entirely while Austin just dared to laugh and pretend that he wasn't a culprit of her misery. God, why are you like this? I nearly died, she shouted as she grabbed a glass of water and took big gulps. Oh, come on, you're being a dramatic, Austin laughed, and Hazel wanted nothing more but to punch him straight on his face. The rest of the breakfast went quite well as none of them talked much. They enjoyed the food and had some casual discussion with each other. Hazel proposed that she could do the dishes as Austin had been the one who cooked food for them, and Austin agreed immediately. Are you home today? Hazel asked. As she rinsed the plates carefully, trying not to drop the expensive-looking plate, the latter washed away with the water. Hazel placed the plate into the holder. Yes, today is my day off, and I was thinking if spending this time watching few movies wanna join, he asked from his position on the sofa with a glass of wine nursing in his hand. He had his neck craned to look back on his wife. Sounds like a plan as I have nothing else to do. And so they both sat in each end of the sofa which confused Austin as he kept looking at Hazel, who was trying to ignore him. Being there with Austin is like walking as a minefield. One wrong step and everything will be gone just before her eyes. Hazel scooted even closer than possible towards the end of the sofa, and Austin rolled his eyes at her. I'm not going to eat you. Why are you being so jumpy? He asked straight to the point as he turned his body He asked straight to the point as he turned his body completely towards her. The movie was still playing in the background, but no one was bothered by it. As Austin continued to glare at her, Hazel tried her best to not make eye contact. Is something bothering you? He asked, his voice holding concern. No, it's nothing. I'm just being awkward, she said while giving him an awkward smile, and Austin scooped. And this because what happened this morning, the kiss that we shared, is it still bothering you? He asked again, straight to the point. Hazel looked at him before looking back down. She heard Austin sigh, a rather loud sigh. It's okay, we are okay. If you don't want anything to happen between us, I promise that I won't do anything to that unless you want something to happen between us. Hazel, of course, panicked. She could feel a piercing gaze of his husband on her, and she tried hard not to squirm under his eyes. I'm sorry, the thing is that I am just confused about something. That is it, she said because it was the truth. She was confused as to why she is enjoying kissing Austin as much she does. Isn't she supposed to be loyal to her boyfriend? Her boyfriend haven't even called her once after she gave him her card that had Austin given her. It's okay, I guess. I just don't want anything awkward between us because I had a great time yesterday with you. Austin confessed, his voice as soft as ever as he smiled at his wife, who was looking at him with wide eyes. I enjoyed the night too. I have never been to such place before, so exploring it with you was nice even though I embarrassed myself a couple of times. I enjoy it nonetheless, she said with a chuckle. Even the owner of archery were laughing at you, his eyes crinkling with joy. Oh, please do remind me. I was never so embarrassed of myself before. The audience were laughing too. She added with a whine, and Austin just chuckled at her. If you want, I assign someone to train you, he said, casually as he grabbed the wine bottle from the table and poured it into his glass. It was still afternoon, and yet here he was having wine in broad daylight. A sign? She asked, confused. Archery teacher who will teach you how to improve in archery. You could learn from them, and next time when we go, the, their next year, their next year you could literally slap them with your talent. He smirked at his own plan, and Hazel blinked multiple times, but it seems like she too agreed with his plan. That you would be fun, she said with a smirk. relaxing as they sat on the sofa enjoying their little movie marathon. The movie they were watching was a thriller movie, and so far, Hazel and Austin were enjoying it. Hazel's phone began to vibrate from where it was hidden under her crossed legs. She groaned because it was a climax scene that she didn't want to miss, and so she almost decided to ignore the call. If it is important, the caller will call again. They could wait some more time. Your phone is ringing, Austin pointed out as he opened the packet to his wife. Hazel took with handful and moved around to remove the phone from under her. She took a fishful of gummy bears in her hands before answering the call. She didn't even bother to check the caller's name. Her eyes still focused on the television. Hello? Is this Miss Hazel Evans? The female voice said. Evans sounded weird as she had gotten so used of Roberts. Yes, speaking, she replied, feeling slightly nervous now because the caller on the other side was speaking so professionally to her. We are from X company. You had an interview with us a few weeks ago, the voice said, and Hazel felt her breath hitch. She looked at Austin, who was already looking at her with his eyebrow raised, questioning what's wrong. We are glad to inform you that you are selected, and just like that, Hazel felt hard to breathe. Her eyes had gone wide as her mouth spilled open. Her heart beat with so fast that it was almost painful. Thank you so much, she succeeded in saying while breathing heavily as she once again looked at Austin, who looked utterly confused. She wanted to laugh. He looked comical. Great, we will inform you the rest of the information through email, the voice said, who didn't even introduce herself. Thank you so much, and with that, said that the call was cut. She remained silent for a few minutes trying to guess what just happened. After not getting a call for weeks now, she had really lost at her hope. What happened? Are you going to tell me? How Austin asked as he completely torn her with wide eyes and confused face. His brows were scrunched together as she stared at his wife, who was just smiling like an eel. Hazel laughed as it was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. Maybe it was a dream, but I felt so real and felt she knew that she was doing. She was already launching herself on Austin, who sat there shocked as if Hazel just continued to giggle. High-pitched, his hands were awkwardly lying on the other side of Hazel. I get the job, she whispered, shouted. I get the job, she shouted as she used them tightly, not knowing what to do next. Austin to wrap his arms around small of her waist and hug her closer, taking in her sweetie protest scent. Hazel closed her eyes as she let the serene feeling engulf around her. All her life, she always wanted to work for her own living. It was her dream, and now that she had finally get the job, she can't help but think that it is a dream. Congratulations, sweetheart. The endearment left Austin lips without any barrier, and Hazel was too in haste to care about what is happening. I can't believe it, she whispered, and giggle followed by. It's true, you got the job, Austin replied, a smile creep on his lip. It was rare to see Hazel so happy. In his 1 month of marriage, Hazel had never been this happy. Yes, she replied, as she closed her eyes and nodded again, as Austin smoothed neck, taking in the musky cologne that the always wears. It is addicting. But you know, right, that you don't actually have to work. I can give you all you want because you have earned it from me. You have been married for me, to me against you will, and you would be staying here stuck with me for 3 total years. It is a huge decision, Austin said as he carries Hazel back softly. She paused and pulled away a little to look at him. He stared right back at her with nothing but curiosity. Hazel sighed. You are making it sound horrible. Seriously, you are making it look like marrying you is kind of You are making it look like marrying you is a kind of punishment for me, but believe me, I beg to differ. Though you are a crude Bastard, sometimes you are fun to be around with. I enjoyed our night together yesterday, she said and smiled down at Austin. You are making it sound like we had sex yesterday, Austin commented, and Hazel blushed at how shameless Austin can be the speak absurd things with a straight as face as he is discussing about the weather. You are ridiculous, seriously, Hazel laughed as she once again bored her face into Austin's neck. They remained like that for few moments. None of them were saying anything. The television was still on and the credits were rolling, but none of them cared about it too. You know, Nathan caused me so much recently, Austin said, breaking the silence. Why? She asked because she was too comfortable hugging him. She had never been hugged before, not so gently at least, and so she just wanted to devour this moment, and Austin didn't seem to mind, so it was okay. They wanted us to meet again sometime soon, but I have a tight schedule from tomorrow, so I can't. And now that you would be working, so that means that you won't have free time too. He explained softly, and Hazel finally pulled away. We should make some time and meet them. Unlike you and your friends are nice. Excuse me, I'm not nice to you. He asked, feeling offended, and Hazel laughed at him before pulling away completely. The movie has already ended, and we didn't even notice. Hazel chuckled at the now black screen that was staring back at him. Let's put some other movie, Austin said as she grabbed her phone and began to search from the list displaying on the screen. You don't have anything better to do, and they clearly weren't in any mood to step out. Oh God, Hazel went, and Austin turned to look at her while still flicking through movies. Gummy bears, she went and opened her purse, which were now a mess with a go substance that was once gummy bears. In her excitement, she has completely forgotten that she was holding a fistful of gummy bears. God is really cruel. He used to. Hazel put the low strand of her black hair behind her ear. The weather is very windy today, but she is sitting at the cafe where she is and Jack would always meet. She glanced at her wristwatch as she sighed rather loudly while sipping her strawberry milkshake. She was dressed in tight black high-waisted jeans, along with a woolen cherry red crop top with full sleeves. It has been 2 days since Hazel got the news that she had gotten the job. She still can't believe it though. Austin had ordered 2 big-sized pizza for the celebration that night. That night was spent by them by binge watching movies all night and sleeping throughout the next day. It was crazy that how much he loved to eat snacks, but eating snack came side by side and with lot of exercise. Austin always worked a lot. He wake up early each morning to go for a run, and after that, he does exercise for next 1 hour. Whereas it is difficult for Hazel to even wake up early. She is that lazy. Her bed is more important to her than getting a well-shaped body. Yesterday, Hazel got a call from Jack to meet him up at his cafe, where she has been waiting for past 1 hour, but the said man is nowhere to be seen. She is frustrated and so done with him. He always do this. He always arrives late and think that it is okay to make Hazel wait. She feels as if she is a pushover. She had gotten the email regarding where and when her job will start. To say that she is excited is an underestimate. The girl's radiating with happiness that is now showing in her entire being. She is bouncy in her step, smiling a lot more. Even Austin had commented on her behavior before he went to another country for shooting. The house feels empty, and so Hazel spent most of her time at the city library. While waiting, she opened her phone and began to search for Austin's social media accounts. It was pretty easy to find him. After all, she was already following him on every social media platforms. His feed is filled with aesthetically pleasing pictures of sceneries and some of his own portrait pictures of himself. The recent post was posted an hour ago. Her husband was standing in front of a historical palace. He was wearing white turtleneck with black pants and long black coat that reached up to his knees. He looked hot. He always looked hot. The caption was a black heart Very typical, Hazel thought as she chuckled at her own humor. You seem to be enjoying yourself. All alone, a sudden voice said, and Hazel wasn't even aware that her boyfriend was now sitting in front of her. She looked up, her gaze uninterested. I was until you arrived, she said, sarcasm dripping in her voice. She watched closely how Jack was offended, but raised his one eyebrow at her questioning her. Woke up on the wrong side of the bed. He asked face straight as she folded his arm on his chest while raising a brow at her. Hazel scoffed in his disbelief along with an eye roll. Who does to think he is? You are an hour late, she pointed out as she turned off her phone and placed in her handbag. Paul glared can clearly see that the girl was pissed. So he simply asked Rose, worried as he is not getting what Hazel wants to say, as soon as if he hadn't done anything wrong. What so? What was even your work that you were so busy for? Huh? You're always this late and you think it's not too wrong to keep someone waiting? She spat while breathing heavily and raised her eyebrow at him, feeling beyond annoyed. Will you shut up? I was late because I was busy. I didn't came here so that as soon as you see me, you can lecture me with things that I have no control with, he said. The cafe had gone silent and Hazel turned her gaze everywhere and saw how people were looking at them with curious gaze. She felt embarrassed and so her cheeks immediately began to heat up. On the other hand, Jack didn't seem a bit ashamed. He just kept looking at her with intense, piercing gaze. Shameless Hazel thought. She shouldn't have reacted like that. Jack had just arrived